FedEx Forum and the American Home Shield Studio. This is The Odds Couple on GrindCityMedia.com. Handicapping all the football action, here's Rob Fisher and Lang Whitaker.
Hello, good people. Welcome to The Odds Couple. It is week 18 of the football season, and we welcome you to the program. We got college football playoffs. We got NFL playoffs right around the corner as well. We got Lance Taylor joining us here on the program today. Vinnie, Verno going to join us on the program today as well. A very busy odds couple for you. Lang Whitaker is here. Hello, Lang Whitaker.
Hey, Rob Fisher.
How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I got Nick.
I just want to say bless your heart.
One of my favorite things.
It's my favorite backhanded Southern.
It's so good.
It's the best.
So good. John Roser is in the house. Hello, Roser.
You know, there are worse coaches to have.
Than who?
Saban? Than Nick.
Yeah.
Don't call him Saban.
Pretty good coach to have.
Yeah.
So I like the shirt. I dig it.
Real good. Yeah. CJ Hurt in the house as well. Hello, sir.
Hello, everybody. What's going on, y'all?
Not much, man. You doing well?
Doing very well.
Good. Hope everybody had a very good Christmas and get ready for this new year as well as we go into week 18. There wasn't a whole lot, I guess, in week 17, but what did we learn in the last week?
I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's sad a little bit. You know, like these bowl games are happening, and well, there's not much left.
And you kind of hope college basketball keeps happening.
Yeah.
Just
I don't know.
Keep something going.
And the NFL's like kind of reached its end point of the regular season.
Yeah.
And then playoffs are about to start for that. So it feels like football is sort of tapering out, and it makes me miss the XFL.
Roser?
Two things. If they're going to keep making lines where the Tigers basketball team is like nearly double-digit favorites. Like, we're just going to keep taking the underdog, and we're going to keep winning every time. The other one is keep fading the Jacksonville Jaguars. We got one more week to do it. Their last three games, after they came off where they blew it against the Vikings, they had a 16-0 lead in the game, and then they ended up losing 27-24 in overtime. Their last 3 weeks, they have lost 31-10, 40-14, and 41-17. They play a Colts team this weekend that has to win.
Yeah. CJ, what did you learn here in the last week?
I mean, even though you add more teams to the postseason, that doesn't diminish or take away from that particular postseason, if that makes sense. Think about what the NFL has done, adding that seventh team and all of the intrigue that comes with not only who's going to get into the playoffs at that seventh spot, but who's going to be the one seed and get that bye. To me, it's never a bad idea to add more teams to the postseason fray.
And it hasn't diminished the regular season.
No, there's going to be a team, I believe, in the AFC that finishes 11-5.
Could be 10-6. I mean,
all
of them should win.
But there is a team that it is possible a team finishes 11-5 and misses the playoffs in the AFC, which is crazy, man. Yeah. You finish 11-5, you 100% should be in the playoffs. That's a great season.
But let's don't have the argument of we shouldn't have the conferences. I mean, in the NFL, it matters. The divisions matter. The conferences matter. Let's don't have that argument of, but you got this team in the NFC. It happens sometimes. It happens sometimes.
The AFC is the NBA Western Conference.
Get over it. This is just the way it should be. The thing that I learned this week, one word, Drake.
The rapper?
No, not Drake the rapper. Maybe I should have added more words.
he's one word.
Drake, the basketball team, the college, Missouri Valley Conference. They are now 11-0 on the season. One game they didn't have a line. They are 10-0 against the spread. And I have been on Drake from the beginning. Now, if you go by Lang's theory of the do theory, maybe it's coming to an end. But right now, it is just an unbelievable streak, and they are just killing the line every single night out. Drake basketball. Keep your eyes on Drake.
Let's. When did they play again? We can find out when they play again.
I would also just add that I don't believe the theory that you're talking about is actually my theory.
Yeah, I think that's a theory that's gone around for. It's not one that Lane just came up with.
No, it's the gambler's fallacy. That's the name of the theory.
it's more just the theory that eventually things even out over the long run.
Well,
Sunday,
they don't play
Sunday
today.
2 o'clock. Sunday 2 o'clock against Southern Illinois against the Salukis.
The Salukis, okay.
Drake
Sunday.
well,
when I
they've
get my-
covered every game
That's
this
great
season.
because I'll have my Alabama first half winnings and I'll be good to go.
Load up
Put
on
it down
Drake. Yep, load up on the Drake. It was a good week for the Memphis Tigers. A week ago, the Memphis Tigers, they win a bowl game as they knock off Florida Atlantic. And good for the Tigers. Ends a good season for the Tigers. Under the circumstances, I think a really good season for the Tigers. Ryan Silverfield afterwards talking about the win.
We talk about the resiliency of our team, and that's been the word we used. I'm just so proud of their efforts throughout the entire season. A lot of adversity throughout college football, a lot of adversity through the 2020 Memphis football program. But to finish 8-3 with a bowl win, which had been quite a while, just so proud of them and their efforts. Credit to our coaching staff, the support staff, our medical staff, all these people made this season a success. Just to go out and play 11 games. It's an honor to coach these young men. And I couldn't be more proud to hoist that trophy next to such fine young men. So proud and so honored of these fantastic football players, student athletes, and they'll go down in history for their fight and everything they did during this season.
I think the adversity they faced, I don't think this is a Tiger year to be disappointed in. I mean, I think you look back and think, that SMU game could have gotten that one, unless you're a better.
Yeah, unless you're doing the thing that this show is about.
Yeah.
That's a good point, Lang. Let me start that over.
Really good point.
Let me start that over. Tigers were terrible this year.
One of us was 2-9 betting on the Tigers all year, and I pretty much bet on them every time.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. That's true. They were not a good against the spread team.
No.
Not at all. But we called that most weeks, except for Lang. We called that most weeks, so that's okay. But overall for their season, I mean, it's a good season for the Tigers.
That's fair.
No, it absolutely was.
Above
8-3. With everything that happened when you had to take a month off from playing pretty much, you never knew what it was going to be like week to week before the season. I don't want to say with the Gainwell stuff because you knew that before the season. You knew going into the season you weren't going to have him. But then Coxie opting out. You had a couple other opt-outs during the season. You dealt with a lot of injuries, too. They dealt with a ton of injuries this year also. So, yeah, I mean, 8-3 your first year and what was it'll be the strangest year Ryan Silverfield ever has to coach at Memphis, and to say you went 8-3, did three things Mike Norvell never did at the University of Memphis in his first year: beat UCF, beat Navy on the road, won a bowl game.
Yeah. Good year.
Yeah.
Good year for the Tigers. Good year for Alabama. The playoff is set. Alabama, they will be taking on Notre Dame on Friday. Alabama 7-1 against the spread in their last 8 games. Alabama 7-1 against the spread after scoring 40 or more in their previous game. Alabama 7-0 against the spread following an ATS loss, which they lost against the spread in their last game out. They're 60-7 straight up, taking on non-conference foes under Nick Saban. They've won 5 straight against top 25 opponents. They're 22-7 against top 10, 25-6 in neutral site games under Saban. They've won 21 of their last 23 played in domes. Saban's 13-4 against the ACC, and the last 4 college football playoff semifinal games that Alabama's played have gone under. Maybe that one will be one that changes. Here's Nick Saban talking about this strange situation, having just a couple of weeks off before the playoff.
I think where the real challenge comes is just time and other things that you do in college football to sort of reinforce your players for all the things that they do, not only on the field but off the field. For example, we usually have a banquet on December the 6th, and now we're not having a banquet until today. We're going to do an award show. But we got to get ready for a game, and we got to clean up yesterday's game. And we had graduation last weekend, so we had to fly back from Arkansas and have the guys walk for graduation. So everything is just squeezed, but a lot of the other things that go into the life of a student athlete kind of gets squeezed a little bit too. But we don't need to have 3 weeks off to be able to play in these games. It's just a little different from all the other things that happen with college football players.
Nick Saban, I'd love to see a award show with Nick Saban.
He must be friggin' exhausting to spend time with, man. Just like the focus on process and is like inability to change or do anything new. Like, man, Saban just must be exhausting.
Yeah, I bet going fishing with him is like, You know, because we all can be impatient when it comes to fishing. You know, Nick Saban likes to fish. You know, there are places. Yeah, big fisherman, likes to fish. And like you know, sometimes you can go out there on the water and you could be out there for like hours and you not catch anything. And Nick Saban's just it's like, can we please go and eat? He's like, it's a process.
It'd be a great show. The Great Bill Dance and Nick Saban.
Yeah.
That's a good one, Nick. Yep.
I'm sure you see a lot of silence.
And it's about 3 hours later.
Yeah, nothing.
Alabama, Notre Dame. This line hasn't moved. I mean, it's still huge. It's still 19. It hasn't
it's
20.
20. It's 20 at certain places.
A little,
it's maybe a little in Alabama, and you know, I think what it is, the reason the line is moving, and I mean, that's the biggest spread we've seen in a college football playoff game. It's just people don't want to bet against Alabama. It's the thing, like, I'll just bet on Alabama, and you know what? If it doesn't work, then so be it. But if I bet against Alabama and they go out there and they win 52-10, you're like, man, I'm an idiot. Why did I do that?
I agree.
Know? A friend of all of ours once told me one of his gambling rules was you never bet against God when Notre Dame was involved. So you always take Notre Dame or whatever it is. But now we have to bet God against Saban. It's like the ultimate
Nick Saban.
It's the ultimate battle. Yeah, not just Saban. No. So we've also, it feels like we've just seen this movie before, right?
Yeah.
We've seen Notre Dame year after year, all season. Everybody's like, they deserve to be there. Then they get
believe in them more this year.
I don't.
I believe in them more this year. I think they're better, but I'm still taking Alabama because I think Alabama's just that much better.
Yeah, I think.
But I believe Notre Dame's a really good team.
I think Notre Dame's better than they've been in the past. Don't you think? Like they're probably.
Yeah, no. I think Notre Dame's a really good team.
But Alabama's an awesome team.
Yeah, and I think Dan Wetzel kind of summed it up best from 2016 to 2019. The recruiting, Notre Dame recruited 1 5-star player. Alabama recruited 17 of them.
Yeah.
There's a massive discrepancy in talent on these two rosters. There is a huge discrepancy in talent. We saw what happened when Clemson got back 2 or 3 defensive starters and got back Trevor Lawrence. Boom, they're up 21 at halftime. It's a different. Clemson and Alabama are operating just on a different level than what Notre Dame is.
Alabama in the first round of the playoff or in whatever bowl that is, 45-34, 24-6, 24-7, 38-0. Like they're going to beat the hell out of whoever it is in that first round.
That's unbelievable. Clemson, they'll be taking on Ohio State. One thing Dabo doesn't have going for him this year is that no one's talking about Clemson being an underdog. Here's Dabo on how he'll motivate his team without that.
Well, I mean, really just do what we've been doing. I think we've won more games than anybody in the last 5 years, so we haven't been an underdog very much. We've pretty much been a favorite in just about every game outside of just a couple. So we just do what we do. I mean, we respect every opponent. We have to have great preparation. We have to be, practice with purpose. Great effort with an emphasis on technique. And everybody's got to be committed. You got to be committed, on and off the field to get yourself ready, in every regard, mentally, physically, you name it. So really just nothing different. I mean, this is something that we know we're going to get everybody's best shot every single week. And that's been the case for a long time. And so, we're just excited to be back in it and look forward to competing against a great team.
Clemson's won 19 of their last 20 as a favorite. That only loss coming to Notre Dame. 6-0 against the spread as a neutral site favorite. 5 of their last 7 have gone over. 6 of the last 7 they played in January have gone over. And 5 of their last 6 after having 280 more passing yards the previous week. Over. Head-to-head against Ohio State, Clemson has won and covered the last 3 meetings with the Buckeyes as well. I think Alabama's the best team in the country, and I would say number 2 is Clemson. And I think there's a drop-off after number 2.
Well, you talked about what he's doing he can't. We always know Dabo plays the no one believes in us. We're the underrated. We're the underdogs. Pretty much all he's done the last week is just fire up Ohio State. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what the thought process is behind this. Like, what maybe he thinks it doesn't matter and he's just going to talk down to somebody for the first time ever. But I'm not really sure what his, goal is in doing this.
Yeah, I don't really get the firing up Ohio. The only thing that I could think of, I heard this theory that maybe he's looked at film enough and has just kind of thinks like we're going to beat the crap out of them. Like, he's watched enough film and knows, like, that they can't. The other thing, too, I don't really know what Ryan Day's doing today. When Ryan Day is like, dude, you have all the momentum to just fire up your team, all the bulletin board material you need, and then Ryan Day's going out there and is accusing Brent Venables and Clemson of stealing their signs and everything, of stealing signs. He's like, he said something like to the effect of basically, I don't know how they always end up in the right defensive play on third down against us last year. I don't know how it always happened. They always ended up in the right play to stop what we're doing. I don't know how they do that.
Maybe you're predictable.
Maybe. Some other SEC bowl games coming up this week as well, including Texas A&M. They're in the Orange Bowl. They wanted to be in the 14 playoff. Jimbo Fisher believed they should be in the playoff, but he's happy to be in the Orange Bowl.
I mean, we were disappointed that we weren't in the top four, but we understand, listen, that's all subjective, and it's your opinion on things, and they had a process they went through, and it is where it is, and we're getting ready to go play a great Orange Bowl game, and hopefully a very good team in North Carolina, which we know is a very good team, and get ready to finish this season off.
And you still get to go to a New Year's Six Bowl. Can you explain for people that don't understand what it has taken to get here day in and day out for these players to make it to this point?
Well, you got to understand how to play in with elite company, and as I say, breathe the elite air. There's certain things that go with that have nothing to do with your ability. Have to do with your mindset, your culture, your work ethic, your ability to pay a price, and your ability to be a selfless team and understand not only to play a game, but how to win a game and how to be successful in a game and how to do it during the week so you can do it during Saturdays. And, it's all a process. It's an education process. Our kids have really bought into it. They're doing a great job with it, and our leadership of our team has been awesome.
Jimbo 23-13 against the spread since being at A&M. They are 4-0 against the spread against ACC teams. They've won 13 straight games as a favorite, 11-2 against the spread, taking on non-conference teams as well. They're a 7-point favorite against North Carolina. Tar Heels 1-4 straight up as an underdog, 0-4 against the spread following an against the spread win, and 2-4 against the number in their last 6.
I mean, Jimbo Fisher,
Don't take a breath.
He would be amazing doing the auctions?
Yeah. I was just saying, we need to start calling him the auctioneer. That's his nickname.
Yeah, I'm with you. I
think North Carolina was so up and down all season, but I think they're a pretty good team. Howell's a great quarterback, and I think giving them a couple of weeks off, having a little time to plan for Texas A&M, they can go toe-to-toe with them, at least offensively. And we've seen Texas A&M, Kellen Mond, so inconsistent all year. I mean, he was consistently inconsistent at least, but there was games where he was, what was that one, 10 for 24, stuff like that. So I think, if anything, North Carolina's going to be able to just put up the points and keep it within 7. I don't know if they'll win, but I think they can keep it, within a touchdown.
Some games this week are interesting with the SEC because you think it's SEC. Come on. But Tulsa's favored by 2.5 over Mississippi State this week.
Yeah, and Mississippi State.
And Mississippi State's not very good. We'll get to Georgia. Cincinnati coming up a little later.
Collins is not playing for Tulsa. He opted out. The All-American linebacker. Yeah, he opted out. So I actually think that line has flipped to Mississippi State now. What I saw earlier, I think, but it's not much. I think it's a -1 or something.
Northwestern, small favorite over Auburn this week as well.
You got no clue in that game. Yeah. I have no clue in that game.
Kentucky's favored by 2 against North Carolina State.
That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Which means it should make sense. Which means we should take Kentucky.
Yeah.
That's what that means. Yeah, it doesn't. Kentucky's had some turnover on their stat. They've already fired their offensive coordinator, Eddie Gran, who I feel like has worked for every team in the SEC at some point in his career. Yeah. They've had coaching turnover, roster turnover already. So
But Terry Wilson's still there, right? Like the quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, how good is he, though? I'm just saying it doesn't make sense that they're favored, which means I will probably totally stay away from it.
And Ole Miss, a 6.5-point favorite, or dog, 6.5-point dog against the Indiana Hoosiers in the Outback Bowl.
Yeah, this line keeps going up, 8 now. And I think it's because Ole Miss is dealing with a lot of injuries that guys have not gotten healthy. Elijah Moore opted out. They've lost some guys to opt-outs. I doubt I will even bet this game, but I want to watch it. I think Indiana Ole Miss is a really fun game.
It should be a fun game. And this is a game where you're basically betting on Lane.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you're betting that Lane's going to keep it close enough, and he's got a couple weeks to figure out something to do. I was also thinking, you think Corral's the third best quarterback in the SEC right now? I mean,
Trask, Corral, yeah.
Corral. I mean,
yeah.
Kellen Mond maybe is third?
No. I think because it feels like A&M wins with like defense and running the ball, and Mond just makes enough right plays.
Yeah.
Like he hasn't
On any
screwed
given
it up.
week, Mond, you would put in that top three.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Certainly,
You
it depends
would.
on what week. Yeah, you would.
You'd definitely put him in the top.
Yeah, no, I would say Corral. It's crazy. Because if you would have watched Ole Miss last year with when Rich Rodriguez and everything took over and.
And Corral couldn't even get in the game.
Yeah, Plumlee, it just shows the systems. That the system matters because Plumlee is a way better fit for what Rich Rodriguez does, and Corral is obviously a way better fit for what Lane Kiffin does.
Yeah. All right, we'll take a break here on the Odds Couple. When we come back, Lance Taylor's going to join us. We'll get his thoughts from Birmingham, and we'll talk more about these games coming up and the NFL going into their final week of the season. We'll chat about that as well. It's the Odds Couple here on Grind City Media.
And we welcome to the show Kyle Anderson, who I believe you are the elder statesman now. Are you the oldest dude in the gym?
Somebody called me one of the rookies called me the OG in the locker room.
The Chris Vernon Show, live daily on GrindCityMedia.com, Grind City Media on YouTube, and the official Grizzlies mobile app. Subscribe and download daily episodes at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SoundCloud.
The Grizzlies debuted their City Edition uniforms, and they are the coolest City Edition uniforms.
Look at this beautiful black and gold.
Show me the glasses.
It's all the way right on the seam.
That's dope. But that's how you know
pretty
the detailing of it. That's pretty dope.
Oh, my nails are so gross.
Rise and Grind with Jessica and Megan. Live daily at 8 a.m. on GrindCityMedia.com.
What's up, Grizzlies fans? I'm Megan Triplett, and I have some exciting news to share. We have a new app. That's right. It's a 3-in-1 experience that you don't want to miss out on. Check this out. The app will keep you up to date on all of the Grizzlies stats and latest news. If you're looking to see what events are going on at FedEx Forum, that can all be found on the app as well. Plus, if you want to see more of me and the rest of the Grind City Media team, like Chris Vernon, Lang Whitaker, and Mike Wallace, there's a section for all that. It is 365 days of content to keep you in touch with all things Grizzlies, FedEx Forum, and GCM. And did I mention you can also purchase and manage tickets on the app? The app does it all. Download it now.
Welcome back to GrindCityMedia.com, live from FedEx Forum and the American Home Shield Studio. Now, here's more of the Odds Couple, Rob Fisher and Lang Whitaker.
Hey, don't miss the newest Grind City Media show, Rise and Grind, with Jessica Benson and Megan Triplett. This duo brings a fresh, fun, and energetic double shot of morning vibes to catch you up on the latest in sports, entertainment, pop culture, and everything Memphis, with some completely biased, unfiltered discussions and a side of slightly above-average jokes. Tune in to GrindCityMedia.com, Grind City Media on YouTube, or via the official Grizzlies mobile app to catch Jessica and Megan live, or download each episode daily and subscribe at iTunes, Spotify, or SoundCloud today. Welcome back, everyone, to the Odds Couple as we get ready for the college football playoff semifinal this week. And when you look at Alabama taking on Notre Dame, Alabama, the last time these two teams met, they did beat the Irish 42-14. Here's Nick Saban on this week's counterpart.
I know they have a very good team. They beat, Clemson, who has a really, really good team. So I know they've got a really good quarterback. They play very good, very tough defense. They've got some skill guys that can make plays. So I don't think you win a 10 games in this season without having some really, really good players. Because I think that was the big thing about this season. The people who played 10 or 11 games had to survive the grind. And the grind of this season was a whole lot different than any other season. I know Notre Dame's got a fantastic team, and it'll be a difficult preparation for us because I do know from watching them they play a little bit different. They've got lots of tight ends, big tight ends. We haven't played against a team like that this year, so it'll be an interesting challenge.
Joining us now from Birmingham, WJOX in Birmingham, co-host of the Roundtable. You can get him on Twitter at @LanceTaylor and get his picks daily at lanceslock.com. Lance Taylor joins us. Hello, Lance.
Hey, fellas. I cannot believe we are already here in the national semifinals, and we're only a week away from postseason NFL, man. It's nuts.
Yeah, unbelievable time.
Well, we got to get this one out of the way before we talk football. Lance, we talked about this last week. No, it's not Jeremy Pruitt, but it's not where we're going with this. It's not where I'm going with this. So don't worry. Did you have South Florida plus the 9 or plus the 9.5 against the Memphis Tigers basketball team last night?
I did not play the game at all.
Oh, come on, Lance! They're offering you free money.
So what is the role right now if we're fading Memphis basketball?
I mean, if they're...
We're trying to keep it quiet so no one else finds out.
This is a true story. So the Tulsa game, the couple weeks ago that they lost, previous to the South Florida game last night that they barely won by 1 point. So by
the way, Tulsa's not that bad. I'm watching them against Houston.
No. They just beat Houston, but on all the apps in Tennessee, because we can gamble in Tennessee now online. Everything had Memphis like -7 or -8, except for Southland Park across the river, which it's like 5 minutes right across the bridge. You can go over there and you can bet on sports in West Memphis, Arkansas. They had the line at -4, which meant that we think everybody from Memphis that drove over there and was just hammering Tulsa so much that they just had to keep dropping the line more and more.
I love people shopping their numbers across the river. That's where we are. I thought you were going to bring up the Auburn coaching search because I know we got into that.
I was going to get there eventually.
Yeah. Well, I want to tell you, I mentioned at the beginning of the show, Lance, that the one word is Drake. Drake basketball right now in the Missouri Valley, they are 10-0, and they are 10-0 against the spread this year. They have been automatic.
Almost went against them. Was it last night or 2 nights ago? And I can't pull the trigger.
Yeah,
we've seen really good teams come out of the Missouri Valley, and I got to be honest, I have not watched Drake play, but I did notice that they were 9-0 against the number going into that game.
Yeah, it's been pretty.
But I'm one of those. I'm hard-headed, man. A lot of times I'll play the do factor and try to fade these teams. Mm-hmm. It never works out.
We've been trying to teach that to people on this show. Trying to teach that to people. We just heard Nick Saban talking about Notre Dame. I mentioned it earlier, Lance. I believe in this Notre Dame team more than I have Notre Dame teams in the past, but I believe that Alabama's still just that much better. I think they're that much better than everybody.
Well, I agree that they are that much better than everybody, and I think that they're going to walk to a national championship eventually, and I think we might be able to even compare them. I know it's a more abbreviated season. What we saw with LSU going en route to 15-0 last year, Joe Burrow winning a Heisman Trophy. I think Devontae Smith's going to win this Heisman Trophy, and I think Alabama's going to win a national championship. But going back to 2012, I was down at the Hard Rock Stadium for Alabama Notre Dame in 12. I left the game at halftime. Once it actually got 35-0, I mean, I tapped out. I was just so bored with that game. And I took off, and I just feel like this Notre Dame team that Brian Kelly has built is so much different, especially up front. The offensive line is one of the best in football. And I don't think that they've got the secondary that can necessarily hang with Devontae Smith and John Mechie. And the way Mac Jones is playing right now, and it's kind of pick your poison if you're Clark Lee, the defense coordinator for Notre Dame, because, if you want to stop Najee Harris, then you got to let Mac Jones and Devontae beat you. And if you want to stop Devontae and Mac Jones, Najee's going to beat you. So, eventually Notre Dame's not going to win this game, but you are getting 20 points against a team, and albeit it was against, backup quarterback in Clemson, they still beat Clemson. They still held North Carolina to 3 points over the final 3 quarters in Chapel Hill, and that's still a top 20 offense that Sam Howell leads there. And I'm getting 20 points here. I know Alabama's 8-2 against the number. Notre Dame's only 5-5 against the number, but I like Notre Dame in this spot. And I hate going against Alabama because I seem to get burned all of the time. I did have Florida in the SEC championship, and Alabama, although they controlled the game the entire time, it was their only 1-possession win of the season. And eventually Florida gets home with a cover there. But I like Notre Dame in this spot. Kyron Williams is a guy that's got 6 100-yard games this year. I think Ian Book is a really good quarterback that's underrated. He's only thrown 2 picks all year. And if they just don't give up a ton of explosive plays, which is a lot to say against an Alabama offense, I think Notre Dame will hang around. Alabama will eventually win this game, 14 to 17 points in my opinion. But I like Notre Dame plus points.
Interesting. Clemson and Ohio State this week. This one a little smaller, 7.5 for the Clemson Tigers. I said this earlier as well. I think Alabama's the best team in college football, but I think Clemson's too. And after that, I think there's a drop-off. Is there a drop-off?
Rob, it's easy to say right now Clemson, especially coming off the ACC championship and the Big Ten championship, where Ohio State really struggled for 3 quarters against Northwestern, and those are the 2 best teams, and they probably are talent-wise. But I still go back to last year. Ohio State, that is a game in the semifinals they should have beaten Clemson. And I had Ohio State in that game. They're up 16-0. Fields makes a couple of mistakes in the second half. He does scare me because you look at the 2 best defenses he's gone against this year in Indiana and Northwestern. He's thrown 5 picks. This offensive line has given up 3 sacks per game. That scares me a little bit. But I think Nolan Turner being out after the targeting against Notre Dame in the first half, I think that's going to be a big loss for Clemson. If Trey Sermon, obviously he's not going to go 331 on the ground like he did against Northwestern, but if he can be productive and go 120 to 150, and I think that's going to be the big number to look at. Outside of turnovers, who leads rushing? Is it going to be Etienne? Is it going to be Trey Sermon? And Ohio State playing with this chip on their shoulder, man. They had that score posted in the weight room the entire offseason, a game they blew last year. Now Dabo Swinney's poking the cage saying they don't belong in the 14 playoff. I just think Ohio State fully healthy, Chris Olave, big for him to come back to this lineup. I think they're going to play with a chip on the shoulder, more than a touchdown, way too much for me. I'm not going to be surprised at all if Ohio State wins this game.
Out of the SEC bowl games that are going on this week as well, any of them stand out to you? Any of them you like?
Well, I do think Texas A&M against North Carolina is interesting because I think Texas A&M is one of these. I think there's 2 games that involve SEC teams. A&M against North Carolina. A&M, Jimbo Fisher can sell his guys. We should have been in this 14 playoff. Let's play like it. Let's go out and prove something. Kellen Mond scares me to death, and I think the better quarterback in that game is obviously Sam Howell. But I think Texas A&M's got a little motivation. And then on the other side, Georgia is so much more talented than Cincinnati. I think we talked about the Bearcats last week. But Cincinnati's 9-0, and they believe, hey, man, we should have gotten a fair shake. And I think we all agree with the way they struggled with Tulsa. They shouldn't have gotten in. But I think Cincinnati's got something to play for. And if Georgia wants to cover the 7.5, I think they will. But Georgia's just one of these teams that kind of goes through the motions. So I think I would take the points with Cincinnati, and I think I would lay them with Texas A&M.
NFL final week of the season is usually a really bad week to bet because guys just don't play. But so much is on the line this week with so many games that it turns out to be a very interesting week.
Yeah, look, I agree, guys, and I think this is why you'll see the format stay to 7 teams because I think there's so much intrigue, and it's hard to really sit guys going into Week 17, and whether or not you've clinched, you're still looking for home field and that 1 seed bye. You look in the NFC right now, I know KC's already clinched, but Green Bay's got something to play for, and thank God they do. Me being a Rams fan with the Rams laying down back-to-back games against the Jets and Seattle, and now they've got to win, or Chicago's got to lose for the Rams to be able to get into the postseason. With that said, I'm going to go to the NFC West. Seattle, watching them on Sunday, the defense is improved from the first half of the season. There is no doubt. But these guys believe they're a top 5 unit, and they're just not. I mean, this is coming off the Jets. It's coming off a game against Jared Goff. Now they're playing a San Francisco team that is so physical that finally has George Kittle back. Jeff Wilson is playing like a top 10 running back. And C.J. Beathard's just not that bad. That offensive line is still really physical for San Francisco. They're catching 5.5. Kyle Shanahan is one of the best coaches in football. I'm going to take the points here against Seattle. I like San Fran plus 5.5.
Be careful with that. Trent Williams and Brandon Ayuk are both out.
Oh, neither one of them. They were all out
Trent Williams isn't playing. George Kittle being back matters, though. You saw how they were able to run the ball when Kittle was in there. He matters a ton.
Ayuk didn't even show up last week.
He had a couple plays. He had a couple
plays. Didn't even show up.
He had a couple plays. Kittle was big. 4 catches, 90-something yards. All of them went for first downs. I think what that was last week, I get killed for. Kyler Murray's the most overrated player in the NFL. He ain't that good.
No, I agree. Kyler Murray is so inaccurate. And, I was just thinking, again, everything comes back to the Rams for me. If Jared Goff had his wheels, he would run for 20 yards a carry because, these bootlegs that Sean McVay designs, he's got 15 yards of daylight and he gets a 2-yard gain or he throws an interception. And Kyler Murray is able to have nothing and he's so quick and able to dance. Without his athletic ability, Kyler Murray, I don't know, man. He would sell shoes. I have no idea what he would do. He wouldn't be playing in the NFL.
No, my thing that I've said with the NFL this week, it's Jacksonville. The last 3 weeks, they've lost 31-10, 40-14, and 41-17, and they're
making sure they lose.
And they play a Colts team that has to win. And Jacksonville's getting destroyed, and they're playing a Colts team that has to win. So, to me, it's like I'm Indy for me this weekend.
Yeah, Jacksonville's doing what the Jets should have done.
Yes.
Right. And I don't know what the Jets are thinking. This is typical Adam Gase and the Jets. Let's play our best football when we can get what could be one of the franchise quarterbacks of the next 15 years.
Yeah. I think
seen that before.
What Pro Football Focus? He's the highest grade. Trevor Lawrence is the highest graded pro prospect quarterback they've had since Andrew Luck.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that.
Wow.
He wasn't great against LSU last year, but he still only lost one game in his career.
Yeah.
Lance, it's a perfect time to give yourself a post-Christmas gift for the new year. That'd be lanceslock.com. Picks every day, and it doesn't cost you a lot of money either.
Oh, man, it is a great value. It's $90 for everything. We're killing college hoops. We're killing the NBA right now. So you get side total, NBA, college hoops, bowl games, you get the NFL postseason, everything, all plays, $90. You can monitor us. You get a free play every single day. Just go to lanceslock.com. That's lanceslock.com.
Lance, always a pleasure, man. Happy New Year. We'll talk to you again next week.
Happy New Year. Enjoy the game, fellas.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Lance.
Lance Taylor joining us from Birmingham. Got the two big ones, college football playoffs this week with Alabama taking on Notre Dame, and you have Clemson taking on Ohio State. Here's Dabo Swinney talking about the Buckeyes.
Congratulations to those guys. We're excited to compete. We all know Ohio State is an incredibly talented team, and we look forward to a great matchup. We had a heck of a game with them last year, and doubt it'll be anything different this year. It's going to be a great competitive game. Both teams fighting. Probably come down to a few plays, and we'll be looking forward to it back in New Orleans.
Clemson has won and covered the last three, and when they have played Ohio State. Does that matter for Vinnie Verno this week? Yes, it is that time again as we welcome Vinnie Verno via the Skype here on the Odds Couple. Vinnie Verno, are you with us, sir?
I said, I will pull out your friggin' liver. I will pull out your liver.
Vinny.
Yeah.
Hey! You're on the Odds Couple, man. How are you?
Hey, I remember this show. Hey, look who I got here. The only thing I got for Christmas.
Who's that?
Gonna shoot a third.
Oh my God.
I know you guys didn't sell anything, so I got my own sponsors. Today, brought to you by Rice Krispie Treats. I ate one the other day that expired in 1984. It tasted exactly the same. Also brought to you by Orville Redenbacher's Naturals Light Sea Salt and Classic Butter. This stuff is terrible. Now, that's probably not great for a sponsorship, but it tastes awful and it gets stuck in your teeth. And also brought to you by the Theragun. You guys got one of these?
I've seen them before, Vin. I've seen them before.
Don't put that thing on your nuts. Holy, I thought it was going to feel good. It don't feel good at all. Hurts like hell.
What are you looking at this week? What do we got?
Oh, yeah. Picks. All right. The big ones, we're going with the playoff games. We're going with Alabama, and we're going with the Clemson Tiger. All right. So Alabama's going to beat the piss out of Notre Dame. We know that. But we're scared of the back door. Now, why are we scared of the back door? When I was a young boy, my great-grandfather, Vincenzo Verno, was on his deathbed. And he said to me, Vinny, come here. And I walked over to him, and he said, protect the back door. And then he died in my arms. It was the saddest thing ever. And I never knew what he was talking about. But then I went to jail and I understood. But it also applies to this week. the wisdom of old Vincenzo. So, how do we prevent that? Look, Notre Dame hadn't been good since they had Lou Holtz spitting on everybody. Lou Holtz, God rest his soul, Lou Holtz.
I think Lou Holtz
He's still alive. He's still alive.
Yeah.
He's still alive.
Are you sure?
What?
Yeah, Lou Holtz is still
with us.
alive.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lou Holtz is alive.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vito owes me like $500 because I bet him that Lou Holtz was alive, and then he looked it up on Wikipedia and he said he was dead. He ain't dead.
He turns 84 next week. He turns 84 next week.
And I just slobbered on myself like I'm friggin' Lou Holtz.
Use the bear.
He's out there slobbering around on everybody. Oh, you want the bear too? It's friggin' Gardner Minshew III. Respect it. Now,
It's a rabbit.
so we're taking Alabama down to -9 because we're protecting the back door. Clemson, we're taking that down to -0.5. So all they got to do is win. If you pair those up, it comes out to -112. So we got to have Bama win by 9, Clemson win by half a point. Ryan Day is running around here complaining about Clemson. Oh, they cheat. Oh, they cheat. There is nothing I hate worse than a sore loser. And Ohio State's played like 2 friggin' games. So, Clemson -5. That chick, Joey Lawrence, is so mad. He ain't going to win one award. And he is pissed. There. So, this guy should change his name to Terrible Day. That's what it's going to be. Gonna Minshew III. Don't put the thing on your nuts. Now, Bama -9, Clemson -0.5, and we're betting $5 million on it. That's what we're doing. We're protecting the back door like we're in jail, like we're betting on a national championship. Money, money, money. Gonna Minshew III. Rice Krispie treats, Theraguns, and this shitty popcorn.
Thank you.
New Year.
Thank you, Vinnie.
Happy New Year.
Appreciate it.
Hey, welcome.
He can't even hold it together.
His bear is a bunny.
Well, he's also you got to understand one college football player that Vinnie Verno has been a big fan of. And I know he won a lot of money on last night, even though he did get hurt. He's wearing the jersey. He loves Sam Ehlinger, and he got hurt. But the Thompson kid who came in for him, Texas was a big play for Vinny last night. So he's riding high from that. So if he slipped a little language in there, I know it's just because he's still riding high from that big Texas win.
Understood. All right, we'll take a break here on the Odds Couple. Come back with our picks for the week here on Grind City Media.
Do you know how to make a reindeer sound?
What is that?
What kind of sounds do reindeers make?
It's not like a horse.
No.
It's like more like a deer.
The only thing I can think of is deer if they're getting attacked by a lion or something. Yeah.
What is wrong with you?
I watch all these animal videos.
So what would a reindeer getting attacked by a lion sound like?
It'd be like,
It sounds like an old alarm clock. The Chris Vernon Show, live weekdays at noon on grindcitymedia.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
In everything we do, defensive activity, offensive execution, play together, have an edge about us. Just play with an edge. Play with an edge and play together.
Durant, for Kieran, blocked by James. Dylan Brooks with authority. Tyus Jones to Brandon Clark. A turn and gun. He got it. Jones for 3. Blocked by Jared.
Yeah, stay together, Blue. Stay together. Let it roll me, kid. Let's leave it out there.
John Morant with elevation.
The Grizzlies debuted their City Edition uniforms, and they are the coolest City Edition uniforms.
Look at this beautiful black and gold.
Show me the glasses.
It's all the way right on the seam.
That's dope. But that's how you know
the
detailing of it. That's pretty dope.
Oh, my nails are so gross.
Rise and Grind with Jessica and Megan. Live daily at 8 a.m. on grindcitymedia.com.
Once a week, get your basketball fix with Talkin' Grizz featuring me, Kelsey Wright Johnson, and media from around the NBA as we discuss draft topics, prospects, and more. Connect with Grind City Media on all their social channels, subscribe to Grind City Media YouTube, and follow Grind City Media on Twitter and Instagram to stay up to date with all things Grizzlies.
Welcome back to the Odds Couple on GrindCityMedia.com. Live from FedEx Forum and the American Home Shield Studio. Here's the Odds Couple, Rob Fisher and Lang Whitaker.
You can get your daily sports, pop culture, and Grizz fix with insider news and commentary on all things sports and more with the Chris Vernon Show, now live at noon daily, Monday through Friday. Tune in to GrindCityMedia.com, Grind City Media on YouTube, or via the official Grizzlies mobile app to catch Chris live, or download each episode daily and subscribe at iTunes, Spotify, or SoundCloud today. And you might catch Vinnie Verno there on the Chris Vernon Show as well. Welcome back to the Odds Couple as we wrap things up this week here in Week 18 and wrap things up for 2020. Thank goodness.
Yes.
College football playoff this weekend. You got Ohio State taking on Clemson. Clemson is 7.5-point favorite in that ball game. Ryan Day, he is the head coach of the Buckeyes, and said that, we're getting Clemson again. Looking forward to it.
You know, in the offseason before we went on quarantine, I mean, that was a loss that was fresh on our minds. And then, as we went into, quarantine and then through the preseason, we wanted an opportunity to get back to this situation. To go win the whole thing. And when guys were fighting for a season, they wanted to go play for a national championship. Certainly they wanted to win a Big Ten championship, but the number one goal was to win a national championship. And the fact that, we're right back here again against Clemson, it's exciting for our guys. And, we're going to have to play our best game of the season, which I'm not sure if we've quite played yet. There's just been so many things and, different disruptions that have happened for us this year. But we're really hoping to get everybody healthy, and we can get everybody, in one piece here as we go into this game.
Ohio State 1-5 against the spread, taking on ACC teams. 4 of their last 6 as an underdog have gone over. Does them not having as many games make them fresher? Is that an advantage? Does it matter?
I don't know.
It might make them fresher when they get to week 12, but both teams are getting 3 weeks off or whatever before this game, so I don't think it really matters.
That's kind of how I look at it.
I think that means they've played less games. They've had less reps. And
do we know as much about them as we do Clemson?
That's what I think. Like maybe Clemson's more practiced and ready to go. Like they've had adversity and stuff they've had to deal with. And Ohio State hasn't.
I'll use it as maybe Ohio State needed to play more games so their defense could get better.
Yeah,
I think that may be a big thing.
Alabama, their defense seemed to get better in the middle of the season, especially as they continue to just dominate teams. 19-20-point favorite against Notre Dame this week. Brian Kelly, head coach of the Irish, talking about it being a tough 2 weeks.
We run right into the holidays, which generally you allow your team to go and spend some time with your family at this time. You release them, let them go home for a few days, bring them back. We can't do that. We've got to keep them in our quasi-bubble situation, so they won't be with their families through the holidays. We'll try to do the best we can in creating a holiday atmosphere around the football building here. So a little bit more difficult during these holidays, but well worthwhile. And they'll tell you right now that they're willing to make that sacrifice to be in the playoffs.
No Christmas for Notre Dame. So we'll see if that makes as a factor in the game this week against Alabama.
Got to go to a Catholic school too. They're going to let them celebrate Christmas.
Notre Dame 1-6 against the spread their last 7 after they've had 275 yards or less in their previous game. Also, Notre Dame 1-8 straight up their last 9 games in January. Their last 4 against SEC teams have gone under, and their last 4 in neutral site games have gone under as well. Time for our picks this week. I'll go ahead and get us started with Fish's 5 for the week. I like the Cincinnati Bearcats against Georgia getting the 7 points. I think it's going to be a good football game. I agree with what Lance said earlier. Georgia's kind of a team that goes through the motions, especially in January, unless they're playing in the semifinal. I'm going with the Bearcats plus the 7 points. I'll take Indiana in an exciting game with Ole Miss minus the 6.5. They win it by a touchdown. Texas A&M, I'll go with A&M minus the 7 against North Carolina. This one scares me because it's got to be disappointing for A&M, but maybe that motivation of trying to, prove what they are, even though it's after the fact. maybe helps A&M. I don't like this one, but I'll take the Aggies. Alabama, I'm going. They're the best team in football, and I'm taking Clemson. As I said earlier, they're the second best team in football. I like them both to cover as well. Lang?
I'm taking Alabama and Clemson too. I think UNC is going to score enough points to keep that within a touchdown. Ole Miss, again, I'm betting on Lane. I think he's going to get something going on there, and I think Corral's been pretty good the last couple of weeks, months, and I think they'll do something. Georgia, Cincinnati, all the times where Georgia's not really showing up in the postseason, they've had a lot of guys opt out or sit out ready to go to the NFL. They're only missing like one or two guys on defense, so the whole offense is back. I think they're going to have something to prove, and JT Daniels didn't even play a full season. He's played started 5 games, so I think he's going to have to show and prove a little bit too. And I think this is one of those games where they're going to go out there and kind of put their foot down and use this to get ready for next season. So I think Georgia's going to win by way more than 7 in this game. Rosa.
Yeah, I like Georgia in this one. I think Georgia is, as long as they care, and I think they will care, and And it's like I said, the last time Cincinnati played a team with this much talent, they got shut out 42-0 by Ohio State last year. As long as Georgia cares, I think Georgia covers this number easily. I'll take Indiana minus the 6.5 against Ole Miss. Probably outside of the Final Four, outside of probably Clemson and Ohio State. Indiana Ole Miss is probably the game I'm most looking forward to watching. Texas A&M, North Carolina. Texas A&M, North Carolina. I don't know if you know, North Carolina has had a ton of opt-outs for this game. Their running back, who's 4th in the nation in running and rushing, is not going to play in this game. They've got Sam Howells. I think both of his best receivers have opted out of this game too. North Carolina's down a lot of guys. I think A&M will care. I like Texas A&M. I'm not going to go against Bama, so I'll ride with them. And I'm starting to lean more towards Clemson in this, but I'll stick with Ohio State plus the 7.5.
CJ.
This is what makes bowl season and making picks during bowl season so difficult, because if Georgia cares, you're right. They handle Cincinnati easily. I'm not sure if they do. And Cincinnati's playing with a bit of a chip on their shoulder, something out there to prove. So I'll take Cincinnati in that one. This Ole Miss Indiana game is going to be really fun. I think Tom Allen is a terrific coach, so give me the Hoosiers in that. Texas A&M, Jimbo talked about playing and breathing that elite air. You have to be able to breathe that elite air if you're going to be with the big boys. I think they choke on elite air against North Carolina.
Somebody from North Carolina farts.
Yeah,
North Carolina farts.
They just gag. North Carolina farts and Texas A&M just gags and chokes themselves to death. I can't not pick Alabama. I don't care what the line is, especially in the college football semifinals. So give me Bama. Clemson should have lost that game last year, and if that team that they played had have scored touchdowns instead of settling for field goals, it wouldn't have mattered when Trevor Lawrence finally got into a rhythm and broke that long run. And I think that Clemson gives you a chance. You have to make the most of those chances, but they give you 2 or 3 opportunities a game to really pit them away. And if you can make the most of them, you're good to go. And I think that team that they're going to play is going to make the most of it. So I'll take that team, whatever their name is. The Colts, they got to win. They have to win. So these are my 2 off the board. They got to win. They're playing the Jaguars, who got to lose. So give me the Colts there, laying the 13.5. And I picked the Cowboys just because I want some shenanigans to happen in the NFC East. They win, the Eagles beat Washington, and then boom, the Cowboys in the playoffs. That is just a dream scenario for me, because it would be so fun.
Dallas played well last week too.
Yeah, I'll go with my 2. The thing with Washington, the Washington-Philly game is the night game, and I just don't get it with what I mean. Because I know it's if Washington wins, nothing else matters, and they're in, so maybe that's why they're making it that. But, man, if Alex Smith isn't playing, that team is horrible to watch. Like, it's just boring and bad. My 2 picks, like I told you, the last 3 weeks, the Jaguars have lost 31-10. They've lost by 21. Then they lost by 26, 40-14. And then they just lost by, 24 to Chicago, 41-17 in that one. Indianapolis has to win. I'll take the Colts minus the 13.5 for the game. I'll take a minus 8.5 for the first half, too.
Lang?
I've done pretty well betting against the Bears all season. And they last week I bet on them, and they came through. I actually did pretty well. Got some GCUs from them.
Yeah.
So this week the Bears play the Packers. 3.5 point spread for the Packers. Packers have to win to get the 1 seed. So they got something to play for. I'm going to just end the season the way I've done it all year, bet against the Bears. So I'll take the Packers on that one. The other one, Tampa Bay against Atlanta. Tampa Bay giving 6.5 to the Falcons. The Falcons could go, depending on how this game goes. If they win this game, right now I think they're slotted the 4th pick in the draft, but depending what happens, they could go from 3 to 11 in the NFL draft just because of this one game. The GM's gone. The coach is gone. They're going to lose this game. And I read that the Bucs aren't going to sit anybody. They're playing everybody. So Falcons, I'm going to make a tribute to them the way I've making tribute to the Bears and bet against the Falcons in this thing too.
I'm going with the Bills. Bills have something to play for as well, and I think the Bills are out there to prove something each and every week, and they're a 1-point favorite against Miami. I think the Bills are that good, just behind Kansas City in the AFC. So I like the Bills minus the 1, and then I'm taking Cleveland minus the 10. Pittsburgh's laying down for the Browns this week. Baker's coming off an awful game. They'll have their receivers back. I think he'll have a big game, and I think Cleveland wins big over the Steelers this week as Pittsburgh just rests everybody in this final week of the season.
Browns shut down their facility today because of a positive test.
It was a coach and they still said they think the game's going to be played. It was a coach and a practice player. They still think there's no reason.
This happens to me every week.
Yeah.
That's all right. If the game's not played, I don't lose. That's the way to look at it. All right, that's going to do it for us here today on The Odds Couple. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy the college football playoff. Enjoy the final week of the regular season of the National Football League. Next week, we'll be talking about the college football championship. Or is that in 2 weeks?
3, I think.
3?
Yeah.
Whatever. All right. Well, next week we'll talk about it, I guess, still.
I have no idea when that game is. I really don't. I have no clue when that game is.
Not a clue. I'm week to week, man. Every week.
I'm just trying to get to 2021.
That's right.
I just want to make it to 2021.
Exactly. Happy New Year, everyone. Join us again next week on The Odds Couple. For CJ, Roser, Lang, Kimball, I'm Fish. Have a great weekend. Happy New Year.
You've been listening to The Odds Couple from the American Home Shield Studio on GrindCityMedia.com. Tune in next week for more football handicapping with Rob Fisher and Lang Whitaker.